Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 11th episode of Visioncon Spotlight, your in-depth look at the nerds you love. I'm your host, Zach Wilson, but you didn't come here to see me today. You came to see the man of the hour. He's a philanthropist, cosplayer, doctor of computer science, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the one, the only, Dr. Chris Taylor. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Zach?
Oh, I'm doing dandy as candy, Chris. And honestly, I did worry when we started this that we'd go past the kind of 30-minute mark because you've lived a life, Chris.
It's been a ride.
From being a doctor of computer science, being on an episode of Wheel of Fortune, cosplaying. I sometimes wonder how you have time in the day.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like there are more than 24 hours in any given day.
Well, Chris, I did want to start us off, and the fans always want to know kind of how did we get here? Obviously, you didn't really come out the womb thinking, you know what, I want to cosplay and help save the world at the same time. So kind of how did we get to the man you are today?
Oh, man. That's, man, what an interesting place to start. Okay, so I've always considered myself a Renaissance man, in that I don't want to be two-dimensional. I don't want to be flat. And so I've never stopped trying to grow.
Sure.
And so that's been the single most important thing to me. My team at work, we ask a trivia question every day. And it's just sort of a way for us to connect in the COVID era because we're all working from home. And on Wednesdays, we do a Would You Rather. And the most recent one was, would you rather go back and live your life over again, knowing everything you know now, or starting now, know everything that you're ever going to learn in the rest of your life? I'm like, that sounds awful.
That sounds terrible. I'll take the prior.
Yeah, it means I would never grow.
Yeah.
And that just sounds awful for me. So it's for me, it's a never-ending process of growing and evolution and learning and just trying to be a better man than I was yesterday, which is honestly the best answer I think I can give to your question.
I mean, you knocked it out of the park. And referring to yourself as a Renaissance man, I would also reiterate, because especially when I first met you, obviously the first thing that came to my mind was, oh my God, this guy's massive. But then once we kind of, peeled back the layers and I learned the highly intelligent and just very unique and special person that you are. I mean, Renaissance, if anything, it's doing yourself a discredit. I think more of a otherworldly, which kind of segues my way into asking you, what about Thor kind of resonates with you? Now, a lot of people that watching this right now know you as, a cosplayer, but definitely as the Springfield Thor. So I did want to ask, what is it about Thor that speaks so heavily to you, aside from the uncanny resemblance?
So the resemblance is what started the cosplay part. But I've been reading Thor comics and Norse mythology since I was young.
Oh.
And I've been drawn to Thor, one, just because I like that he speaks elevated English. That's one of the draws for me, is that I love that elevated English. And I was a little disappointed when Ragnarok changed that and he started speaking more of the vernacular. I was really sad, but I get it. I mean, that's
sure.
Okay. But the real draw for me is this idea of Thor being worthy, that there's this striving to be worthy, to rise above normality and to strive towards a worthy goal, to be a worthy person. Which is so much of who I'm trying to be and what I'm trying to do. And I like that I can kind of assume this mantle that is sort of the embodiment of that.
Sure. Well, and I've seen kids just run to you, full sprint. I almost actually, at one of the events that we both partook in, I almost took a kid out because he wasn't looking where he was running to you, and I almost accidentally kicked him. But, you're a huge fan with, all ages, and you definitely embody that, chipper and kind of otherworldly presence that Thor has. However, we saw in the most recent, at least cinematically, in Avengers Endgame, and a little bit of Infinity War as well, the kind of deeper character arc that the character undertook. Now, were you a fan of that direction? And a follow-up question, you're always the very chipper and kind of, positive go-to guy. But do you ever find yourself, either behind the scenes or just, in your everyday life, kind of also struggling with certain things that we all may struggle with?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Oh, man. And admittedly, that's part of the challenge of doing this character. Sometimes I feel like I have to put the face on and always be the hero, even when there's times like I'm not feeling it today. I can give you an example of an event. There's a charity that I work with every year called On Angels Wings.
Okay.
And they do end-of-life services in photography for families that are losing their kids or have lost kids. And this last year, normally they open it up, they do a carnival for a fundraiser and they open it up to the community. But this last year, because of COVID, it was only families who are members, like who have received services. So I'm here with families, and I know every family there has either lost a child or is about to. And it's one of those where like, I'll deal with my own feelings later. That was a hard day. It was hard to keep it together and just get through the day and try to keep the face on. But, oh man, yeah, there are days when I'm like, I can't do it. This is a hard day.
Sure.
And, but for the most part, I feel like being positive is almost a superpower in and of itself, of just trying to keep your spirits up and lift the spirits of those around you. I feel like that in itself is a superpower and is a gift that you can give to the world. And it's something that I try to do.
Well, you definitely do it well, but I do got to ask, do you have any tips for the folks watching at home? Because especially now with COVID, morale's pretty much at an all-time low. So how do you, just every day you wake up and ready to conquer the day and, save a life, how do you keep that high, be it either esteem or just kind of chipper attitude?
For me, the probably my biggest, if you want to call it secret, would be gratitude.
Yeah.
It's I try to maintain just a spirit and an attitude of gratitude at all times. I just want to be thankful for what I have, for who I am, for the life that I've been able to live, just to be able to get to do this. I just want to be grateful. And so I try not to take anything for granted. And I know that the times I start to get depressed, the times I start to get down is when I lose that. When I have lost my sense of gratefulness and gratitude, it's when I'm like, man, I deserve something better. Or I should have gotten this thing and I didn't get it. I have lost my sense of gratitude, and that's what's getting me down.
Renaissance man through and through. Well, a lot of people, to those of you that don't know, obviously you're a hero in cosplay, but even out of cosplay, just as Chris Taylor, you're a major hero as well because you work with a lot of, philanthropy and just, nonprofit organizations. And so what are some of the big ones that, you've worked with recently that you'd like to, maybe kind of plug out there and, maybe, promote slightly?
So the most recent one was Harmony House. I was honored to be one of their, to get to be one of their Harmony heroes and to get to compete for the prize of wearing the purple cape. And there were, I think, 6 of us, maybe 8 of us, that were competing to be the Harmony hero. Who could outraise who?
Sure.
And I think between the 6 of us, we raised $18,000 for the charity, I think.
Oh, shit.
It was incredible. And there were some amazing people. It was just such a cool thing to get to represent them and to tour their facility. What they're doing there is amazing. And it's gut-wrenching to realize that Greene County is domestic violence is pervasive in Greene County, in our own backyard. And it's shameful. It is absolutely shameful. And to think that the largest domestic violence shelter in the state is here. It's not in St. Louis. It's not in Kansas City. It's here. So it was fantastic to get to help them and try and raise money for them and just to raise awareness. And there's so many worthy charities around here that they need help.
There's plenty. And when I found that out, because I attended the last in-person Purple Party before, all this COVID stuff happened, I was shocked to learn that as well. So guys, if you're watching this later on YouTube, if you guys look down in the description below, there's plenty of links that I've included that have all of these charities, be it Harmony House or plenty of others. So make sure to go check those out and donate if you can. But I did also want to ask, what is it about kind of philanthropy that really draws you in? Because obviously we all want to, make the world a better place. But I would argue, Chris, that you definitely take it a step farther and not just want to make the world a better place, but definitely do. So is there any driving force with that makes you kind of just want to be the better man, or may I just say the better person?
I think it's part of how I try to express my gratitude. I feel like I have, sometimes somebody will ask me how I'm doing, and I'll say better than I deserve. And that's not to downplay me or denigrate me.
Sure.
It's just, I feel like I've got a great life. And I haven't done anything worthy of this life, but I want to try to. And so that's where a lot of it comes from. Is that I want to give back. I want to show my gratitude for what a great life I have, to get to be Thor, to get to have conversations like what I'm having with you, to get to have great friends, to meet all these incredible cosplayers and just all the amazing things that I have in my life. This is how I get to give back.
Such a genuine person, Chris. And I will say, whoever, no matter who won, the Harmony House contest, it had great money to a wonderful organization, to one who really did need it. I will say, though, between you and I, and the hundreds of thousands of people watching this right now, no one looked better in that cape than you did.
You're too kind, thank you.
Now, we went into a kind of a darker and serious place, so before we end off, I want to round it out by going back to a little bit more of a lighthearted topic, and that being cosplay. Now, we talked a lot about, you being Thor in cosplay, but you cosplay a bunch of other people, both currently and working on cosplays right now. So I wanted to ask, were there any ones you wanted to shout out that you've been working on, and what is it about cosplay itself that really speaks to you?
There's a couple things. The thing that I enjoy the most is taking on that character. I want to talk like that character. I want to act like that character, which makes my next one perhaps going to be a bit more of a challenge for me. Because my next character is going to be Geralt the Witcher, who is not quite as chipper as I am.
It's kind of the polar opposite.
Yeah. And I may have to grunt a lot, and every once in a while he kind of drops some words.
Sure.
And so that's going to be interesting. The costume looks amazing. I'm so excited to show it off. But as soon as I got it, I didn't get it finished. Sherry Fiddler with Maker's Hands is an amazing costumer. She's so incredible. She does all my stuff, all of it, because I am inept. So that's just another way that I like to do things. Is I like bringing other people in and sharing their talents, especially when it's not my talent.
Sure.
So let's find a way to elevate their talent. And so bringing Sherry in has sort of been a way of us collaborating, and I have loved that. And so she makes me look great, and then I just have to show up and act the part.
And Sherry's so sweet too.
Oh man, she's incredible. So yeah, she's created Geralt for me. I'm excited at the way it looks, and now I just want to play the part. And I may debut it on the 24th at the Monster Ball. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know what things look like right now. I am still dying. I shouldn't say dying. I'm itching to do All Might.
Sure.
I really want to do an All Might.
You'd be a knockout for All Might, I gotta be honest. And you don't half-ass anything from what I know, because when a key story that comes to mind is you visited MSU, which, Those of you who don't know, I am a student at. And, you know, I asked if I could just hold Mjolnir. I probably mispronounced that. The hammer that Thor has, that you have. And I thought it was just going to be some plastic thing. Oh, absolutely not. It's definitely like I almost took out my kneecaps because I wasn't expecting it to be that heavy. So now you definitely don't do anything half-assed, Chris Taylor. Now, before we wrap things up, I did want to ask one thing. For those watching at home who either already love you or fell in love with you while watching this, how can they get more of Chris Taylor?
Oh, wow. I hadn't really thought about that.
Anywhere they can follow you?
You can follow my page, Springfield Thor. Unfortunately, I'm not great about posting things out there. I got to get better at that.
Sure.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I need to hire like a social media person to improve my presence there. Feel free to friend me on Facebook. Honest, I'm not really discriminatory as far as like, you know, like I've got to know you. I tend to be pretty open about friend requests, things like that. You can follow me on Instagram. It's Night Eternal, a Knigget Eternal. But yeah, I've flirted with the idea of actually doing more video stuff and posting that out there, like maybe doing a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And just sharing thoughts about life and the universe and other stuff, and trying to, you know, just be positive. And try to tamper down some of this anger that we got going on. But I haven't got that off the ground, but I'm flirting with that idea.
Got to give the people what they want. I mean, people still keep coming and watching this show, so, you know, you'll do just fine if you decide to do that. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all the time we got. So before we wrap things up, Chris, any final thoughts to leave us on?
This is October. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So, man, if you think about it, even right now, donate to the American Cancer Society. Normally, I would be doing the breast cancer walk, but I don't think there's going to be one. It's become one of my favorite events to do every year. I dress Mjolnir up in pink, and I even have a special pink cape that I had made. And I take a fabric marker with me, and I will hunt down survivors. That didn't sound quite right.
No, I assumed what you meant.
I will look for survivors, and I will kneel in front of them as they sign my cape. And then when I march, I've got names of survivors all down my back. And it's become one of my favorite events to do every year, and I'm really sad I can't do it. So, hey, if you're listening, please donate to the American Cancer Society.
That link, as far as many others, are down in the description, guys, if you're watching this later on YouTube. And, guys, if you looked up altruism and selflessness in the dictionary, which in hindsight would be kind of hard because they're on two separate pages, but each page would have Chris Taylor underneath.
You are far too kind.
Oh, none of that now. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 11 of Visioncon Spotlight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I, of course, am your host, Zach Wilson, but much more importantly, this has been my special guest, Chris Taylor. Make sure to check out all the links down in the description below. And always remember, guys, that life's better when you have friends to share it with.
Mm-hmm.